Good evening, folks. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Jade.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Erica.
And this is Perfectly Marvelous, a podcast dedicated to the hit Hulu show, Only Murders in the Building.
And on today's episode, we're reviewing Season 3, Episode 4, The White Room.
Woo! Yeah. Before we begin, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, help us reach 1,000 subscribers by the season finale. We would appreciate it. And for our full review of this episode, just click right up here, I believe, to download the episode on Apple Podcasts. We are available on many other podcast platforms as well. All the links are in the description. And to watch the full video of this episode, just go to patreon.com/perfectlymarvelouspodcast and sign up to be one of our most marvelous members. And in addition to all of our Only Murders in the Building episodes, you can also listen to every one of our Marvelous Mrs. Maisel podcasts ad-free and see more videos and a bunch of extra film review podcasts and episodes. There's so much goodness that awaits you. So head over to that Patreon and give us some love. And we got to shout out the most marvelous ladies in all of the land. Our patrons, Lisa, Gail, Kimberly, Melanie, Liz, Kathy, Melissa, and Jane. Our lady is practically perfect in every way. We love you. We love you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support.
And remember to subscribe and download wherever you're listening. So we can't see the amount of listens we get. We can only see downloads. So let us know that you're there by downloading.
Yes, we appreciate it. Now, without further ado, let's solve some crime, bitches. Tits up.
Tits up.
Spoiler warning, if you have not watched all of Only Murders in the Building up to Season 3, Episode 4, turn back now before it is too late. And as always, we're going to go scene by scene, break it all down, and we've all chosen who we think the murderer is. With all of the information that we've been given to this point, we've written our answer down and sealed it in an envelope. Those of us, some of us don't have envelopes, but what you going to do? So we will share our whodunit theory at the end of the podcast. And I'm already thinking that mine is going to change as we talk about it, because this episode was unhinged. In a word, it was in batshit insane. It was kind of like the red herring episode as well. I'm like, well,
the most red herring of all red herring episodes I feel like we've gotten in a while.
Right. Yeah, totally.
It was a lot.
Okay. So let's get into it. So we have this cold open at the beginning. Cinda's doing a voiceover while Mabel's doing an apartment search. And Cinda is explaining the difference between self-care rituals and obsessions.
The entire theme of the entire show was about like obsessions and going throughout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so obsessions becoming unhealthy when you rely on them too much.
Rituals will ground us, but then it can become our undoing.
Yeah, they can become your undoing. And I really, really could relate to this, because I think when COVID happened and we all had to be alone, we all found ways of coping to make us not feel so lonely, to kind of ground us and give us some semblance of normalcy. And I definitely got really, really into my physical, yoga exercise routine. And it took me like a while to let it go and to just be like, okay, there are some days when you're not going to get it all in, and that's okay. you know,
I got used to sleeping.
Yeah, right.
And then had to get used to not doing that real quick.
Yeah. What's
That's
that?
so true. Right. So my question was, what is Cinda recording? Because if she's not doing her podcast anymore, then what's she doing?
I assumed it was either, working on a new podcast where she hasn't released it yet, or she's doing some sort of like self-help guru audio book recording.
I don't think it ever said, but yeah, she's talking about self-care being difficult in New York. And I'm like, oh Lord, ain't that the truth? And she said, in the city, we push, we shove, we occasionally urinate on each other. I was like, too true. But this did make me realize, where the F is the podcast? Are they still doing the podcast? Like, they haven't recorded, because at the end of episode 2, Mabel had the little handheld recording device and she's like, we're back.
I think they're
like, no, there's no podcast. Is Mabel doing it on her own? I mean,
I think they're investigating to be able to come up with some sort of theory yet at this point, because she and Charles at first they're like, oh, so maybe it was Psycho Greg. And then once they figured out the handkerchief situation, their theory is completely going in a different direction. So I think at this point, they're still investigating to be able to make some sort of episode.
I think that's actually happening though with this whole season so far. Like we're going this and this. We can't even kind of like make a trail yet because we're just like going all over the place.
Yeah. There was a theme though, talking about themes. This episode was very white. Mabel, like in her apartment, her coat, the realtor's coat, even like Cinda. Yeah, the she's blonde with her white candles and her cream colors that she was wearing. So it's like I enjoyed that a lot. Mabel being in her white room and feeling really uncomfortable there and just being like, no, it's not me. And juxtaposed with Charles, who goes into the white room later, who's like basking in the glory of his white room. He really seemed in bliss, I want to hear your thoughts about that because I'm not actually sure what is going on with Charles there.
That was wild. Instead of like a blackout, it was a whiteout.
There you go.
Right.
He just panicked.
That the white theme was totally different because the next moment we see Joy, and Joy, if anything, is like bold, bright colors, patterns, like prints and red and black leather jackets. So totally opposite of the white thing that Mabel and Charles are.
All about color as a makeup artist. Like she is just in your face color.
Okay, so let's get into this first scene where Joy has moved in with Charles and she has brought a lot of exercise equipment and 62 fish.
Yeah. I guess now we know why in the trailer Charles is holding a fish. It has to be somehow tied to
now we know.
Now we know. Obsession. Yes, there's the first obsession, Joy with fish. And she has an obsession over Charles too.
Yeah.
Quite. That's been going on for a long time.
She makes me uncomfortable. Like I just do not enjoy that character. And I don't think
enjoy
I'm supposed to. No.
Well, he likes women whose names begin with a J.
No.
And they're one syllable.
He's got a type, Charles. He's got a type.
Yeah. I got some Jan feelings, especially after the what was it? An antelope in the Kama Sutra.
Yeah,
that was funny.
But yeah, I love Andrea Martin. I love her so much. She is such an amazing character actor, but I agree with you. This particular role it definitely makes you feel uncomfortable. She's so much in your personal space. Like she gets right up into the camera to show she's like really close to Charles. So, I mean, kudos to her for that because she hasn't played this part yet.
Right.
That's the thing. And I think that seems very intentional because Charles is kind of feeling suffocated and like it's a little much. And that is exactly how I was feeling watching this episode and having her on my screen. I was like, oh, okay, I'm with Charles.
Yeah. And they're moving very quick. They're moving very quick.
Right. Okay. So this is what I was like, whoa, she's already moved in. We've seen none of their relationship. I was like, okay, sure. Live your best. I mean, I don't know if Charles is living his best. I just don't. This was this whole episode, I was like, wait. Am I high? Am I on drugs? Am I dead?
Like, did I miss something?
Seriously, I'm like, did I take a bong hit? And I didn't, no one told me that I did because seriously, this whole episode was so batshit insane.
It was.
It just seemed like not real or, like it seemed like a weird fever dream of Only Murders in the Building.
It was a lot.
I don't know. Yeah, Joy was just the tip of the, she just really set the tone. Joy, she's no Jan, let's just say. She does not have the same chemistry with Steve Martin as Amy Ryan. So I gotta say, I do miss my Jan a little bit. Andrea Martin, I love that she always plays just like freaking weirdos.
Yeah.
Does it so well.
She's very good at it.
Yes.
Want to go to the fish store? Aside from already having been there twice today, I have to go to rehearsal. I'm gonna go cool off at the fish store. You're gonna buy more fish? I'm just gonna browse, but probably, maybe, definitely, yes. So that's her self-care obsession. There,
Too many fish.
Too many fish, yeah.
Too many. Oliver said he's in love, but yet he has not asked Loretta out, and he's just so distracted by her. So his obsession is now Loretta. And then I also noted that the dressing room footage sounds like a lover spat. So I was like, okay, that I went back to Kara's theory. I still like the cookie theory about that. That's what that lover spat was. That was about as much I got out of that.
Yeah. I did really enjoy that we got a Ethel Merman reference.
Oh my God.
With Charles.
He's like, I've been practicing my vibrato. Ah! Thank you, Miss Merman.
That made me very happy. And I guess what Charles's obsession is getting his patter song right. So
the part where he goes,
on
what
that.
if we cut the patter song and I just do a look?
Yeah. Like, like, I don't think that would have the same effect, Charles.
Yeah, and then we get Kimber's serum red herring. I'm like, yeah, no, no, that is nothing.
Okay.
We also got our first, I've got a theory. Yeah. To follow nothing relevant whatsoever to what Mabel's trying to do here. Poor Mabel. She wants to, play her podcast game and the guys don't want to play. And it's sad.
They're distracted.
They're quite distracted.
So, okay. All right. Let's get into all Charles' patter song. You can't explain this. You have to watch it. So this little trot that Charles does, the little peppy step when he walks out onto the stage to do his song. Oh God. What is this?
I love his face.
I love that he was just trying to get everybody out, any type of excuse to get out of this.
She's like, go away. You don't need to see this.
So there's one other thing I gotta share. What happens to Charles? I'm concerned. Can I just say
where did his pants go?
Where did his pants go?
His pants are like hanging down.
How did that happen?
Mental health.
Yeah.
Like Charles is not well. He needs to not do this Broadway show. I'm like, Charles, babe, I know you have ambitions and I know that you want to. Does he want to though? I don't think he wants to.
Clearly his mind and body are trying to tell him something.
Right? Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm saying. Okay, because this is what happened.
Who of the crew would commit this crime? My little frat, make a thought equals fact. It's a story, little story for a nursery rhyme. Which of the pigs fucked it? What did it? Which of the combination?
What the fuck? When he's like, pick, fuck, dick, wad, shit.
Like, what is happening?
What is happening with Charles?
That was excellent.
And then this happened.
That's so.
There's his
Charles. Charles is in a baby cradle. No pants. His pants are on his ankles. Holding his shoe in one hand. The babies are all splayed out. Everything is like turned over. The baby, other cradles are turned over. He's holding the baby by its leg, and that look on Steve Martin's face.
And his hair has been quite tousled and messed up. And every time he comes out of the white room,
yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm concerned for Charles. That's
just a smidge.
So my most marvelous moment is right after that. This moment delivered by the way that they're all working together in this tiny little exchange. It is truly just a moment, but it is so good. And just Martin Short's delivery is like, it's just my humor. I can't, it kills me every single time.
What did I do up here? Too soon.
Not ready, but we have to find.
Too soon.
Too soon. I think that may have been the moment that I laughed the loudest in that.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. It just hit me really hard.
What did he do?
Yeah. It's so funny. I feel like I go to the white room every freaking time I'm on stage, like certainly it's different for Charles because the white room is like, he's having a stroke. Are you having a stroke?
It's going into this weird safe place. Like
it reminded me of, especially when I had first started out as a trial attorney, especially for my opening statement, I would try to memorize it and I would have, it written out ahead of time and I would practice it. And the first couple of trials I had, I feel like I just kind of went out of my body and out of my brain. And I said all the things I needed to say. And then I'd sit down and I was like, what the hell did I just do? Like, because I would get so anxious that I would space out, which was probably not good. I'm sure it did not come across the way I wanted it to. But once you get more comfortable with it and more acclimated to the courtroom, and I would assume it's similar in a show that, you want to nail it, you have one shot to do it. And so your anxiety just kind of takes over and your brain retreats to a safe space.
Yeah. With Charles, it's like he has to dissociate in order to like get through it. And it's just so sad. From, like,
Trauma.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
And oh yeah, so
uh,
here we get Howard coming in, who can't resist a Mabel sweater. So
yes.
this was Erica, this is your most
Yes,
marvelous
this is
moment,
my
right?
that whole back and forth between him and Mabel was just too much. It was so
I
good.
think this may have been my most marvelous moment. I had a
But-
hard time.
It was so good. But also this
Picking.
is when Howard, right as they were waking up, or Charles was waking up. Can I step out to call my therapist? And then it turns out he wasn't calling
course
his
you
therapist.
can.
He was calling his
Yep.
cousin from State Farm.
Yeah.
That keeps on
gosh.
coming back.
Keeps on
That
coming
keeps
I
back.
know. I was like,
I
State
have
Farm
some thoughts.
again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hi,
I've
Rudy.
got some thoughts.
You like sweaters, right?
Girl, you know I like sweaters.
It was actually one of my sweaters.
Let me guess. A fluffy number, vaguely shapeless, splashes of yellow.
I
and
like
orange
Oliver
that have no
just
business
nodding
working,
along.
but somehow they work. My God, do they
Oh.
work? Jesus H. Christ, I love your sweaters. Go on, I'm listening.
Go on, I'm listening.
Well, then you wouldn't want one stuck in the theater, would you? Think of the moths.
No.
Oh, no,
Crawling
not the
through
moths.
fabric, chewing holes. Oh, the whole structure of the sweater just falls apart.
No, stop, Mabel, no. I'll let you in, okay? Let's get that sweater.
Get that sweater.
You're a genius.
Did anyone else think of the moths from Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? So remember when Joel was like, holes in my sweater, and my
Yep.
wife says, Ted the moth,
Ted the
dime-size
moth.
holes. That's his signature. I was like, was it Ted the moth? But yeah, my favorite Joy moment, I think, was when she was saying, take that stress and channel it into one of your gorgeous omelets. That's your happy place. And the way
Yeah.
you make them looks like they should be on the cover of Breakfast magazine, which does not exist. Really cracked me up.
Well, then she's like, I'm the omelet. I was like, no, you're not. Calm down. I don't like
I know.
this.
I know, right?
Mm.
And I do really love, though, that Charles is clearly a little bit of a freak. He likes himself a freak. I'm like, hey, Charles, get it.
Mm-hmm.
When she
very
started
happy.
making the animal noises, he almost like started walking towards her in a trance.
Okay,
state.
thank you. Yes, he like follows her lustfully, like practically
Mhm.
salivating.
My goodness.
I'm like, yeah, Charles has that's like his drug.
He has a
is these-
type.
Yeah, these like mentally
does.
unhinged women. I mean, hey, do you, boo? I support it.
Oh,
But-
Charles.
Joy is only really going to be happy if he's dependent on her. Like, she doesn't want him to be dependent on the omelet, on anything else but her. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole time, I was just like, yeah, she is way more into him than
Mhm.
he is her.
yeah, the little nugget that we get of plot, moving forward kind of is with Joy saying, I'm gonna look out for you, Charlie, just like I did with Ben Glenroy. And he knew if he touched one hair on your gorgeous little head that he would have to deal with me. And it's like, I do not think Joy is the murderer.
No,
No.
but I think they
But-
wanted us to think that for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they still do, I guess, the way the episode ended.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's Joy. No.
No.
Well, this is
I
what
don't
I'm
think so
wondering.
either.
Are we just like really ahead of the show, or are we exactly thinking what the show wants us to think? That's what I'm wondering, because
That's the
because-
whole problem with mystery.
right, with
It's
mysteries,
like,
right? And it
like,
only gets
how
harder,
good of writers are they to where they would
right?
anticipate we would all be seeing this as red herrings and that it would obviously not be.
But this
Hurt.
episode was so full of red herrings, or
Yeah.
felt like there's too many things that it
Yes.
almost feels intentional.
I would
think
still
it is.
put money on Joy was not involved in any way, shape, or form with
Mhm.
Ben's death. Either
No.
of his apparent deaths.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so let's get to this, Joy's kind of involvement here at the theater.
I thought Joy fixed his red mark because obviously she's the makeup artist
Mm-hmm.
and like either took out her lipstick, put it on, left it there, or it fell out or something. And the very first thing I thought of was that Ben got frustrated at himself for like inhaling these cookies
Right.
and wrote fucking pig about
Mhm.
himself on his mirror.
I like
I was
that.
I was like, either that or somebody else came in, caught him inhaling these cookies and wrote it. But I could see Ben, being crazy and being like, fucking pig.
Yeah, I could see him be a little bit more self-deprecating than the other way
Yeah.
around, because it doesn't seem like he had the relationship with anybody else.
Yeah.
Where it
Unless
would have been
he
that.
was walking around calling himself, or somebody walked in on him like berating himself, calling himself a fucking pig or something, and we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like
I
whole-
highly doubt that anyone else would care so
Right?
much, about
him
Ben.
eating cookies.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. Or if
No.
because like my brain went there so fast, I was like, well, that can't be it. Like, what? There's
So if
gotta
Ben
be
is- if Ben
another
is a-
explanation.
If Ben is mentally unhinged enough to talk to cookies, because that's totally what he's doing. I'm sorry. I know that there's a lot of
Right.
theories like, no, it's too obvious that he's talking to cookies. I'm like, no. I think that we've all just figured it out. And now it's like, now it feels too obvious because it's on all the
Yeah.
message boards, it's on all the Reddits, it's what everyone is saying in all their reviews. Like, it's definitely cookies. And then people are like overthinking it to the
Now
point where
it's
they're
not
like,
cookies. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Like, no, it's cookies. I'm sure he's talking to cookies. Ben seems, from what we get of Ben, and I don't think that we're ever getting the full picture of who Ben really is, but from the picture, the weird person that Ben has been painted before us, I think he is talking to, he's the kind of guy who would talk to cookies like this, and he's the kind of guy
Right?
who would hate himself after consuming said cookies and then write on the mirror, "You pig." It seems like something Ben would do, He
Yeah.
just does.
Oh,
He's a
yeah.
drama queen.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I do think it is related to him eating those cookies.
Yeah.
Yes. What about
sure.
Kimber? Let's talk a little bit about Kimber.
Ugh.
Oh, Kimber.
Oh, Kimber.
Erica, what did you think?
I was really gagging when she gave Mabel that bowl of dog food.
Oh,
I'm like, what?
and it prevents heartworms. I'm like,
Yeah,
nope.
oh, it's so
Yeah, it's made with barley, chia seeds, and essence of sod. Like, ew. This was
No.
this was the second cracked out storyline. I'm like, what is happening here? Kimber has this beauty empire, right? Like that's not doing very well because she can't
She
sell
just
her
wants
serum. She's running it out of their dressing room though. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, what?
She
It's
just
just so
needs that
batshit.
one thing to go viral. She's like
Mhm.
trying absolutely everything, which obviously then if she was probably still holding out some hope that she would be able to get Ben to, hawk her serum, there's no way she killed him.
Well, so this is what the messy, I'm sorry I made everything so messy between us. This is possibly what he was talking about here, backing out of helping her to, sell her beauty stuff and to be the unofficial spokesperson. He never read that copy and made the TikTok for her, like the little commercial. So we don't know why he backed out. I can only suspect it's because Kimber's just not that nice of a person. I don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think it really matters. I think that this is, again, is a red herring. Kimber is, and I feel like this episode did a weird thing with kind of crossing Kimber off of the suspect list, but we still don't know why she is doing any of the things she's doing. So like she says she felt numb after Ben's death. Like, why would she say that? That's an odd thing to say. And also there is that moment where in episode 2, he comes back to the after party and he's like, "I'm alive." And then he starts apologizing to everyone. And he gets up in Kimber's face and says, "I'm sorry, I made everything messy. I'm gonna be so much better," or whatever. Actually, I have the moment. Let me play it. Look at this moment with Kimber, because I don't know if it's Ashley Park's acting choice, because the camera doesn't zoom in on it. They don't comment on it with the cinematography at all, but it is there. And it is, I said it at our recap of the first 2 episodes, that why did she look so scared of Ben? It just seems odd. And
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I can't tell if there's some significance to it. So tell me what all right, so
I
watch
never
this.
noticed that sign before. Sorry.
Mhm.
Congratulations, Death Rattle cast and crew. We killed him.
No
That is
shit.
really funny. I never noticed it either. Oh my God, you're
Oh,
right.
jeez.
Okay, watch
Oh.
this.
Kimber. I'm so sorry I made everything messy between us. I fucked up. But I'm gonna make it right. Ty,
Wait.
forgive me, please, for
Wait for it.
getting so mad at you for wanting to use my trainer. It's just, Hutch is my secret
See?
weapon. And,
Yeah.
there's no shot you can afford.
What was
it, but
that
I
flinch
suppose I
about?
could give you his digits.
I think she's just so
do you think
spooked that she thought he was dead
Right.
and he's not.
Maybe.
Right. I think that might have been just, she looked really like, why would you, he didn't even, it wasn't even like he lunged or like he did anything extreme in that moment, but Ashley Park did this like, like she,
Mhm.
and as an actor myself, I pick up on those things. I'm always looking at those little small
Yeah.
choices that the actor makes. So
did-
I think that there's something that she is aware of about her character that hasn't been revealed yet, because
Yeah.
clearly there's, like I said, there's unanswered questions with Kimber to do with Ben. We don't know why she is saying she felt numb, why she is so adamant about
Yeah.
that, like she wanted to sell her handkerchief, she had no problem like spiting him, it seems.
Wait,
like to get
she
rid of
said numb and not dumb after
Numb.
he died?
She said she's just feeling
I think
so
she did.
numb.
Yeah, I think you're right. But also, you remember when Mabel asked her if they were sleeping together, and her face, like how, like seriously, like almost, I don't know, like the way Ashley Park's facial features changed when she said that, like her eyes like lowered, and she just got like, yeah, you assumed that I was just sleeping with him like everybody.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think you're right. There's something more to this. I think this is just kind of like, this is too kind of like wrapped up in a little neat little bow. Like, oh, she was just selling this thing and she just wanted him to help her with her product.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
There's also one other thing that I wanted to share with you guys, because I don't know if anyone's going to pick up on it. After in episode 3, when Oliver says to everyone, now we're doing, Death Rattle's a musical. And because they're, everyone's like applauding at rehearsal. They're like, yeah, let's do this show. Let's get it back together. Even, let's do it for Ben. And he goes, it's now a musical. And he pulls the sheet down and it's like Death Rattle Dazzle. And the camera zooms in on Kimber's face, and her face just going like falling, like going to like, no, like an expression. And she is very adamant about not wanting to do a musical, which is odd to me since she's such an amazing singer. So watch this moment.
And turn it into a musical.
What is that? Only
I
her.
thought, I don't know, when I watched it, I remember seeing like that face, and I was just like, I just thought she was so judgmental and thinking about how ridiculous it was that he wanted to turn it into a musical, or that he wanted it to keep going.
I do think
Either
that
way.
I do think we're given all these questions about Kimber to consider as like,
Yeah.
think about this, distract, look over here. Meanwhile, the trick is happening way over here, which is why I think it's none of these people that we are given in this episode. This is a very middle of the season episode,
Excuse you.
There's a lot of people not in this episode.
A lot of famous people not in this episode. We didn't see any Loretta, and
we have our new
no
famous
Tobert.
people.
No Tobert, no Paul Rudd.
I was very sad that we did not get any Tobert.
Getting very little Tobert so far. Suspicious, I think so.
Yeah, it could be.
Another little thing I wanted to just mention about Ralph is that after he was in the right before he was going to the White Room, and here comes Charles, using his omelet to help prepare him and get through the song. Did he say, sorry, were you whisking? But he was saying, emphasizing the
Why
H.
label it?
Whisking.
It's like that Family Guy.
Bill Wheaton.
Skit. Yeah.
Can we just look at this really quickly? Steve Martin killing it with the physical comedy.
Which of the triplets did it? Who of the crew would
This
commit
part.
this crime? My little brat making mommy go splat. It's a story pretty gory for a nursery.
Takes out the bowl.
I'm sorry.
Starts whisking.
What the hell is happening with your hands?
I'm just keeping the beat. It's a little choreo that I came up
Choreo.
with.
Choreo.
It adds a little zazz, don't you?
Oh.
Sorry, were you whisking?
Whisking.
Why label it? It's just the concept.
The constable coming through me. Can we
Whisking.
also
I love it.
why label it?
Go chef.
So then
Go chef.
when Charles goes into the White Room for the second, I mean, these White Room moments are hilarious. Like the first time when he just is painting the walls with that roller, like what? Why? And then the second one, he walks in like he just won the lottery or something, and he's like admiring these blank white frames. But he
And then
walks
there
in
was-
so excited about nothing. He's like,
But was
"Yeah."
that the White Room that had the weird beigey, tannish colored Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, and that was because it was in the
was-
fish tank.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, it was one of
No,
those
I
little
liked that.
props in the fish tank. Yeah. Also, Oliver, Oliver has two really great anecdotes, which I love to keep track of when, just stories from Oliver's personal life. He's like, story for another time. That's,
Yep.
another day. But I did talk Idina Menzel off a literal ledge once.
I love that.
And then the other one was, it smells like Jerry Orbach's laundry basket in here, which I did take a nap in once. Like, what?
Okay, Oliver.
So random and great. So yeah, so they have this little heart to heart, and Oliver tells Charles, maybe you don't need to change. Maybe you are who you are, and that's enough. But Charles wants to be that guy. Yeah, he wants to be that guy who can check up with the lady and all her million fish.
And Oliver finally asking Loretta out on a date.
With a very simple dinner.
Mm-hmm.
If it's simple, don't overthink it. Maybe it's what we all should be doing right now. Nope, not gonna do it.
And like Charles's anxiety, I do like how the end, I feel like it's so clear that it was about joy and not about his patter song or stress from the show. Maybe that compounded it, but I think he just feels suffocated.
Yeah.
So then Charles tries to break up with Joy.
Oh,
and then he goes
poor
to the
guy.
white room again and he proposes. Well, maybe he proposes. Does he propose?
It seemed
What do
like,
we think?
I think he proposed. It seemed very clear that he had proposed to her.
I was confused where he got the ring.
Was that the ring from
That's
before?
what I'm saying.
Her tank, maybe?
Or
fish
from the
tank?
I
That
don't
ring
know. This
confused me.
is my right. So it confused me
No.
too. And I think that what it's saying here is the first thing that I thought when Charles went into the white room was he did not propose. She is using she's taking the opportunity of his white roomness because he's confided in her of what's happening with him and she knows what's going on. So she's thinking, oh, now's my chance. He's going to be wake up all of a sudden. He's going to come to and be like, where did I go? What did I'm sorry. What did I say? I think that she's totally lying because of the way that last frame is zooming in real close to her super sketchy, creepy face, holding up that ring. It's like, where did that ring come from? She's been planning this. Yeah. Joy is unhinged. Don't think she's the murderer, but she's a little unhinged.
Interesting.
Nefarious. And then we find out that her lipstick, the lipstick that was in Ben's dressing room, is Joy's lipstick. Okay, so let's get into let's get it. I just can't wait any longer. Let's get into our theories, guys. I'm chomping at the proverbial bit over here.
I wrote a lot.
Yes, and the murderer is Carrie. You first.
I am now officially on board with what you said before, that Loretta is one of the killers.
One of.
I think this is going to take... Okay. I think Loretta is the one who shoved Ben down the elevator shaft, and I think she was doing it either in defense of Dickie or protecting him some way, because hear me out. I think Loretta might be Dickie's mom. So I know it sounds insane, but rewatching the episodes, and I rewatched the trailer, and I watched the trailer, then I watched the first episode, and you know how we see Oliver pull out that kind of creepy notebook that has photos and articles with Ben? It is 100% the same bookshelf from Loretta's apartment in the first episode. So I was like, okay, so that seems pretty clear. And we talked about it last time, how I think they want us to go down the line of thinking she's obsessed with Ben, but Dickie is in the background of that photo. So I was like, I think they're intentionally trying to throw us off and make us think that she had some sort of obsession with Ben or whatever. But I think it was actually Dickie that she was keeping track of. So part of that is, I feel like this motherhood motif and theme keeps coming up throughout this season, where it hasn't in the past couple of seasons. There's been a lot about, father-son relationships with Charles and his dad, and Teddy and Theo, and in this one we've had mention of Mabel really gave us more insight into her relationship with her mother. This time around, it's usually been more focused on her father. We have Cliff and Donna and their weird mother-son relationship.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's that story that Tobert tells about the elephant and the mother trying to,
My God, you're
save
so
the baby elephant.
good. Yeah.
And and in addition, I went back and, watching the first episode again and listening to the monologue that Meryl Streep's character gives at the beginning. And you pointed it out, Jade, that she says the exact line. She says, "Would I kill to protect a child in my charge? That is the question you have for me, I assume, detective. To that I would say, without so much as blinking, I would kill without compunction for the sake and safety of any child in my care. So now you have your answer." And she's turned and looking to Oliver. And at that point, Charles's voiceover comes in. But the way that she is talking about that,
it's like hiding. It's like hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I think that's how this is going to go. Right. It was right there all along. It was the first thing we get out of the gate is her basically looking into the camera and delivering. This is exactly what I'm about to do. Y'all.
And so now you have your answer. And I was just like, that is very interesting to me. And we see how much of a dick Ben is to Dickie. And there are a few episodes, if you go,
Dick to Dickie
moments when you look back, the way she looks at Dickie, like it
I know.
feels at first I thought it was maybe some weird kind of romantic or infatuation thing or just like almost starstruck. But now I think it's because it's her child. And I think
did you notice when she was singing and Oliver was falling in love with her and everyone's crying and everything? There was Dickie behind Oliver. I did rewatch that, and Dickie is looking at her in this kind of lustful way, but I don't think it's that. I think it's like, that's my mom, or that. Yeah,
I think, and I totally think in that moment she is singing towards him, like she is communicating to him. And I was just like, holy shit, that, like, I don't know if but I could totally see it. And if Dickie is fed up with Ben, I could see Loretta protecting Dickie by killing Ben. And there are a couple other.
This is the protection thing. I did. Okay, this is starting to scare me a little bit because you and I are very much on the same wavelength here. Like you're almost like going through my exact theory as well as far as Loretta is concerned.
That's
because
funny.
I've been on the Loretta.
Yes.
Can I just say my first choice? I think it's the right choice. I'm not. Yep. I think I got it.
I do think,
but it's becoming more clear why I think Because at first I was just like, it's kind of a gut thing. Like I know that it's Meryl Streep. I don't know. We don't have all the pieces yet, but it's kind of scaring me, the fact that we both have the same answer. And a lot of people I think are leaning toward this answer. I'm like, so is this exactly what they want us to be thinking? I'm like,
and I think that's the only reason I've been worried. Well, worried. I'm not worried, but like,
you're not worried.
I'm so scared I'm going to get it wrong. No, because I've heard that. And even like, some of her facial expressions and the way she reacts were very, like, I felt they were intentional. They weren't like trying to kind of sway us, but I was worried that it was like too in our face. Like why would you put that right in front of us? All right, help me out. I have never seen or read or watched anything with Richard III. Dickie is a short for Richard. And I know that there was a poster for Richard, and they've been also throwing a lot of Shakespeare this season as well.
They have. I know. I've noticed
any
this.
theme from Richard III that might kind of carry over in here? Because I know we've had some Hamlet.
There was a quote. Was it last season where they did the play on, a horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is the talk of in Richard III about how he was born. Like he came out of his mother's womb like with teeth, and he's like he was born this like monster, I
think
I'm trying to think now. You might be on something, Erica.
You think of that, like,
I don't know,
but I think that
Dickie is just such a weird name. Like nobody.
A lot of weird names.
Dick is such a old-fashioned name, and Dickie is even worse.
I think it'll be a twist where they are setting us up to think that Loretta, like Dickie tried to kill Ben, and Loretta ends up, pushing him down the elevator shaft, whether there's a physical altercation, like Dickie followed him up there or something.
Mhm.
And maybe Ben found out that Loretta was Dickie's mother, because he did call her a snake and was really intense with her in that, after party scene. And then I started thinking, I was like, okay, if he had a red mark on him that Joy had to fix, how did that get there?
Mhm.
Did he and Loretta get into some sort of physical altercation? And then it made me think maybe you're right again, Jade, about her that Charles was talking about being Loretta, possibly, because they're all on stage together, like they would all have been backstage at the same time. Charles could have seen something, but I think that kind of visceral reaction from Ben could be explained by something so personal like this. If he found out and thought it was somehow going to, I don't know, mess with him having an assistant, like maybe she was coming in and interfering with their relationship. I don't know. But
well, and there's when we talk about that her thing, who is her, I tried to really reflect on all of my questions and all my theories and look at them from the opposite. So like, what if everyone is not actually telling the truth? What if what they're saying is a lie? Or what if it's instead of Charles warning Ben because he's saying, Ben, you've done something wrong, what if he's more protecting Ben and the her is someone dangerous? What if the her
I like
is
that
like, because he
too.
does say stay away from her, be smart.
Yeah.
And I've kind of wanted to say this before, and I just never thought to write it down or say it. I don't know why, but ever since the very first, like the trailer, I think I thought to myself, why doesn't Charles share this information about this little exchange with Ben on stage? Why doesn't he share that with Oliver and Mabel?
It doesn't
what is this?
make a lot of sense.
It
No,
doesn't.
I know.
It's very annoying.
That's okay. So you said that he could be warning him as opposed to
maybe,
I like that.
I could see that, because that reminds me, there's another part of the monologue that she reads for Oliver that stuck out. And she says, a child needs to feel safe at all times. They need to feel protected by the ferocity only a mother can summon. And I was just like, she would totally kill for her child. And we know that she had this huge dream. And Charles's voiceover kind of said, when you do finally land your dream, your moment in that spotlight, how far would you go to hang on to it? And I was like, so how far would Loretta go to fulfill this dream? If she got pregnant as, a teenager or even someone in her young 20s, I could see her being forced to give that baby up, whether it's because of her parents, whether it's because of her dream.
Well, and there's
I may have gone too far down assuming and jumping to things, but I think it would fit her character
at this juncture,
like how ambitious she is, and then
she gets a limp.
That's the thing. And like, why? I don't know. How often does she audition for things? Did she know that Ben was involved in this play and that's why she auditioned? Like,
well, she comes in to that first audition and says she's not on the list. She crashed the audition. She's like, I thought my manager said that, or my agent said I was on the list. I swear. It's like, no. She came there without having an appointment. So there's a reason that she's trying to make her way into this play. That's for darn sure. So Erica, what did you write down on your?
I forgot to read the second half of my thing. I got so excited.
Come on, Kara.
Sorry.
Go. No, it's okay.
Sorry. I think it would be too predictable if, let's say, she ended up being Dickie's mother and Dickie tried to kill Ben with the cookies and then she actually, killed Ben protecting. I think that would be too obvious. So I think she thinks that Dickie tried to kill Ben with the cookies or something like that, but that's not true. And that if we do not hear more from Bobo and about how he didn't have his handkerchief in like the next episode or the one after that, then I think it was somebody inconsequential that tried to poison Ben.
Agreed.
And then
I'll tell you who I think. I have a theory for that.
Like the baby elephant. Anyway.
Like the baby. Yeah, no. And I keep going back to that too, because I think that is going to come as a parallel later. Like that baby elephant story was not there for no reason. Who is the baby elephant? Who
Right.
is
Other
Yeah.
than to like make us fall in love with Robert with a T and then rip it all away.
Yeah. I mean,
Come on.
he was my first choice, like in the beginning, and I still feel like he is more, Tobert has more involvement that we
something.
know. There is
Yeah,
something.
there
And
is something.
maybe he witnessed
Yes.
whoever killed him and he didn't go to
Yes.
help him.
Yes.
So maybe
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
multiple people involved, maybe not necessarily multiple murderers, but people who are going to be not only involved but also what's the technical word, Kara?
Like accomplices or
Yes, to it.
Accomplices.
So,
we
so
did see the sign that said for the cast party we killed him.
We killed
It's
him.
like, what if it was like a collective
we killed
effort?
him. Yeah.
Yes.
Like
yes.
they all like maybe they took Kimber's nasty serum and used that to poison the cookies.
I don't know how much. What does ingesting Vaseline do to one's?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Erica. So was that your guess was Tobert?
All right, I listened to you guys last week. I really definitely think it's multiple murderers. I think you guys are completely,
Yes.
I absolutely see how Loretta can be it. And I don't think it's not her at all. I think it could be her definitely. But when Kara brought up like this, like there's Bobo has no like character development at all. Tobert has only been in it so much. I feel like they play a very important part. So I left Tobert on there as just like, you know what, not so much. I just want to know what his involvement is in it. So I'm still kind of stuck. Like the other part was, and I know you guys had a big discussion about last week, was Donna and Cliff. I feel like Donna also has some involvement in as well. Not so much Cliff.
He's icky.
Yeah, like there's something going on in there. Again, another mother who would maybe she would kill to protect her child's. I don't know.
I had a thought. Yeah, I had a thought about
True.
that. The only thing that really makes sense for Donna to be the murderer is if she knew that the play was going to get a pan, that because that review had been written before opening night, right?
Yeah.
They come critic screenings before opening night and they write their reviews. So if she somehow knew that the show was going to get, eviscerated in the press, that she would want to save her son's reputation by getting Ben out of there so that there's no star, there's no play.
Yeah.
Right on.
Man.
Okay, so I got to jump in here with mine because exactly what you're saying about the multiple murder thing. This is season 3. John Hoffman has said in interviews that there's going to be a theme of 3 in this season.
3 triplets.
He said, yes, there's triplets. And also, let's think about this. The first season was it was a lot to do with isolation and everyone we kind of got to know all the characters on their own. And we saw all of them in their own worlds, and then their worlds kind of united and they came together and they found a common, ground in unexpected places, so there was this isolation theme of singularity and just being on your own. And then there was only one murderer, Jan. That's it. There was one person. Season 2, there was a theme of pairs, and John Hoffman has interviews where he said everyone in season 2 had like a counterpart. So Mabel had like Alice. Foil. Yeah. Charles had
Lucy.
Lucy, thank you. And Oliver had his son Will, and that they had their big relationships they were dealing with. And then there were 2 murderers. There was Poppy and Detective Krebs. So season 3, guys, there's going to be 3 murderers. They're going to do an Agatha Christie. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a very, very famous Agatha Christie book that has recently been made into a film where there is multiple murderers. They're going to do one of those. And I think that one person is going to be really at the helm, I think, but I haven't figured it out yet. I think that person is Loretta. She's at the center of the whole thing. So my theory so what I have written on my paper here.
I love it.
I have Howard, Loretta / Dickie. Exactly, basically just dovetailing off of what you said.
I was like, that's what I said in the first episode.
Yeah, right. So I think Howard is completely behind the cookie thing. And I think it's because Jonathan.
Howie.
So there's a lot to do with Howard, right? Jonathan is the understudy. And Howard continually says what about Moses Morris? What if we got funding out? We don't even need Cliff and Donna. Let's get, why does he want to push Moses Morris so hard and get Cliff and Donna out of the picture and not use their funding? I think it's because Cliff and Donna would probably say, okay, well, no more Ben. We need to find another star to headline this shit. We can't just, this is not how it works. Like, we don't know if Jonathan has the role of Ben's detective part or inspector. We don't know who is playing that role. Clearly, Jonathan is still in the show, but we have not been told what his role is. So the way that it works in the real world is a Broadway show cannot happen unless you have at least one really big star. So they would never make Jonathan. I mean, if this show makes Jonathan, that's just a bridge too far. I'm sorry. Can we just
or
be a
it's
little
just
more
more
realistic?
Consistent with Oliver's terrible ass judgment. Like, that would be the only way I could.
But even if Oliver had the judgment to make him the inspector, you still need funding. You still need someone to back that choice up. So if we didn't have Cliff and Donna, if we didn't need them, then we have Moses Morris to fund this shit. Then you can have whoever you want to be the lead. And so I think in Howard's little funny mind, he's thinking, okay, do away with Ben. He didn't want to kill him. He just wanted to poison him, whatever, get him sick so that he couldn't continue the show. So he put those cookies in the dressing room, he poisons him, whatever. And then Jonathan gets the part, or at least Jonathan would get to go on that night.
Yeah.
But he didn't think that maybe he went too far with the poison. Maybe Howard's not the brightest bulb. He, overdid it a little. And so he drops dead and oh no, and now there's no show. So I think that Howard was trying to push his lover to the front and center of the stage there.
Oh, Howard.
And so that takes care of that. And then the next, I don't know how, or I don't know all the moving pieces yet, but Loretta and Dickie have some kind of a connection. I think.
So do we think I'm crazy for thinking she's his mom? I don't know what it was.
Well, okay, this is the thing.
Punched me in the stomach with all the mother. I think it's the English major ADHD overthinking part of me that was just like, I see a theme.
No, you're right. And Loretta, there is that card on her refrigerator that says Aunt Loretta. And what you were saying about maybe she had a child very young, maybe this child has been raised by like a family member. To think that that's her, another Agatha Christie trope that she's done in so many books.
Oh yeah,
to think that like your aunt is, to all of a sudden realize as an adult,
she's actually your mom.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not explaining myself very well. So I think that it's possible Dickie thought that she was his aunt, and it just kind of makes sense as to why they're so close. He all of a sudden like became her agent very quick.
And yes, she's talented, but we also we didn't see him or anybody else really seeing that. Between the table read, we went from the table read to opening night, and then we find out, she's got this wonderful ability to sing and all this stuff. But Dickie was all in. They seemed very close, very fast.
And
maybe his attention was being diverted from Ben, and Ben did not like that.
Maybe.
So yeah, I said it from I think last episode or the one before, I can't remember, that maybe Dickie and Ben are not really related. And I was wondering if it was because they were like secret lovers or something. I don't think that's it. I think that it's possible that they're not related.
That would be a twist.
Yeah, right. But okay, so before we get into my next kind of theory, what do we think about this Loretta? Why is she staying? Do you really think there was a part that she's turning down in Family Burn Unit? It's quite a stretch to think that she would want this network drama job so bad, and she, has no money. She hasn't made her her way as an actor, and she finally gets this huge role on this network drama, and she is turning it down for Oliver to be in his Broadway show. I mean, if the show does well, it's likely that you're going to get you will still get hired on shows like Family Burn Unit. Like, she can still get more jobs like this. So it's not like but I don't know, to pass that up. And nothing's guaranteed as an actor. You just never know if you're going to get a job or not. So it just seems like a really wild thing to think that she would. I just don't know if there was ever really a job that she got hired to do in California.
I also thought, we see her in the very first episode just being absolutely mesmerized by the theater and falling in love with the theater. And on top of that, I think that her feelings towards Oliver are real. And once they had that kind of moment at the piano, I just saw it as this is her dream, is theater, and she feels kind of compelled to go for it this time, as opposed to something
there is that moment
TV
when they're at the
show.
piano and we see her really look at Oliver, and she has this moment of like, oh, if I ever had any feeling that I had to leave him, or like, I don't think I could ever leave, I think I love him. Like she, just like we see the moment where Oliver falls in love with Loretta when she comes in and says, I was in the original cast of Little Shop of Horrors, and as long as we have heart, this play can be as crazy as it wants to be, and as long as we find the heart, it'll be wonderful. And he just like falls for her. He's like, you get it.
It's
Oh my
so
God,
sweet.
you get me. Yeah.
So
and then they had to cut the sweetness with Eat Me Seymour, which cracked me up. That was so funny.
And I don't even think we mentioned it. I don't know how we didn't mention it, because it was definitely in my notes that, like, obviously Little Shop connection, Steve Martin, he was a dentist.
Yep. He can sing.
Okay. He can sing, right? The man can sing. Don't get it twisted. Okay, so this is my next theory, and I don't know where it goes, but I think it's highly possible.
Thing about theories,
right? Yes.
Go anywhere.
The great thing about murder mystery theories, at this point, we just can't say how anything ends because we just don't have all the information yet. But there is a lot of information. It's impossible, unless you live under a rock, if you're involved with this show at all, it's impossible to ignore what people are saying about Ben possibly could be a twin or a triplet. Right. So I really did not want to believe this theory. I did not want to think.
I don't like that.
He does refer to himself in third person an obnoxious amount.
Well, and Paul Rudd has a history of playing multiple versions of himself, and all of those posters we see in his apartment are him. Like it's Ben with all these different faces, like the million faces of Ben, and when we first come up in the elevator, there's that huge like Andy Warhol kind of inspired artwork piece of just like all these different faces of Ben.
Oh yeah.
And on rewatching, there's this moment, this huge picture that really gets a long shot when Mabel says, "I've never loved this apartment more." It's like this huge face of Ben with this mustache behind her. And it's like they really do linger on that. It looks like a different person.
It looks like his Anchorman character to me.
Yeah, that was what people have said.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, it's what's his name? Brian Fontana or something like that. I can't remember. But I don't know.
There's another thing that I want to show you guys. Hold on, let me show you this.
The triplet thing.
I don't want to believe it either. It sounds so lame. I know.
But it seems too.
But look at this.
There's the triplet babies and then triplet. That seems too.
Soap opera.
It's too on the nose, right? But look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. And I noticed it. I noticed it the first time, and I overlooked it, and I hate myself for overlooking it. And yeah, no one can believe me. To say that
The
Shining? It's The Shining wallpaper.
I did notice this wallpaper.
Yeah.
And I did think to myself, man, that looks like The Shining wallpaper. I thought nothing of it because why would that relate? That would have nothing to do with anything. But it's true. There is a theme of twins in The Shining. So this cannot be an accident, guys. Like, look at this. It's so exactly this wallpaper. Yeah, I'm obsessed with The Shining. So it
love it.
Yeah, of course I would notice that. But yeah, now the more people are saying it's The Shining, Ben's definitely a twin, look at this, it was in his apartment, The Shining wallpaper. I'm like, okay, it's hard to ignore.
Maybe I should get on the internet and look at what other people's
there's
theories
another
are.
thing
I'm curious.
I have a lot of clues to do with this. So there's another thing. There are these tattoos on Ben's. He's got the cobra tattoo for Cobro, and then he has these finger tattoos.
My
GC
brother pointed that out
for Girl Cop. Yeah.
Yes,
so when he's the tattoos change when he's in the elevator, and when he's at the table read, the tattoo very clearly says GC, and in rehearsal with Oliver it says CG. There's also no rings on his hand when he's in the elevator, the death picture of him on, I mean, that could just be because he was in the hospital or whatever, but he always has these rings on his hand and he doesn't in the elevator. I don't know. That's here or there. Some people are saying you need to look out for the watch, but I don't know how the watch plays into it at all. But the tattoos do change. That is That is a thing. It's
I wonder if that's
a fact.
a fuck up or something, like with the makeup.
Continuity.
I highly doubt
Like,
it. I highly
that would
doubt
be
it.
a pretty bad continuity.
That was my first thought.
Continuity error. Stranger things have happened, but that would be a really bad one to let slip through on a murder mystery show.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
he's
I don't think it's a mistake.
douchebag and wants everybody to think his tattoos are real and he draws them on.
I know, I was thinking that too.
Like-
So there's other clues that I have to support this theory that Ben could be a twin or a triplet. So he was a child star, right?
Yeah,
Child
they
stars
do
are
frequently
often
need
they're like
twins.
always twins, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's also possible that was the reason that Ben's blood was like clean.
Yeah.
If there was some kind of a switcheroo going on, like maybe the first Ben really did die or whatever. But I have a feeling that the thing to do with this red mark, she says when he came out of that dressing room, the red mark was gone. He called someone in to help him take off the red mark. What if it was just his twin who went on stage for him?
Interesting.
Didn't have a red
As
mark anymore.
opposed to Joy going in and like fixing his
makeup.
And how did her lipstick get there? Some other way.
Somebody could have planted that.
That's true.
I mean, someone just could have taken it from her, and like, who knows how? We all think that Joy is a red herring. I'm very certain that Andrea Martin is not the killer. I think that this whole lipstick in the dressing room thing. Why was she in the dressing room? I don't think she ever was. I think her lipstick got taken from her somehow. Blah blah blah. Whatever. It's possible that Loretta was in there and left the lipstick. It's possible Howard left the lipstick for whatever reason. But then there's another thing where Ben, at the after party, he doesn't know Cliff's name. He calls him Boy. And it was played for humor, but it also seems like he's a different person, not knowing who these people that he should know's names because he hasn't been around them. Another thing is when he says he didn't know good luck was like a curse in the theater. And he's like, yeah, I knew that. You know, when Charles is like, you know, good luck is a curse, you idiot. He's like, of course I know. That. So it's possible that his twin maybe stopped acting and he just hasn't been in the theater. So he doesn't know like the lingo, you know, he hasn't been in rehearsals, whatever. Then Dickie says he has a phone call and gets him out of the after party. And he says,
phone call is still weird.
And he says, Ben, you have to take this. And Ben goes, oh, Ben's got to take this. Like he talks like the third person. That's weird.
The third person thing is odd. Also stereotypically douchey.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All of this stuff could be explained away.
That's why this show drives me insane.
Right. The only thing that can't be explained away is the tattoo switch, unless it's just a production mistake, which I highly doubt. But it's possible that it could be. The more and more I watch this and rewatch the episodes, the more, and before I even knew about the twin theory with the tattoo clue, I had written it down already in my notes, and there's no one to, you know, qualify this.
Oh, I believe you.
Take my word for it. I wrote down, it seems like Ben is a different person. And I have been calling it out. Why is he acting so weird? Why is he acting so not like himself? I mean, we don't know who Ben is, but he's acting very out of character. You know, he's not his performance. I was blaming it on Paul Rudd stupidly, but it's probably just Paul Rudd being a good actor, Jade, you fucking idiot. So I think that he is just nuancing this part really well by very subtly playing two different people. So is it possible that Ben, it doesn't exist and he's always been two different people his whole acting career? And is it possible that Dickie is not his brother and for whatever reason is playing the part of his brother, or is his triplet and doesn't look like him, like the other two? Because that is, I looked it up, that is possible for triplets to be born and two of them to be identical and one of them to not be identical.
So much older than him.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah, to me he does.
Maybe it's just because Paul Rudd has this like eternal fountain of youth effect that everyone always talks about. I don't think he does. I think he looks his age. He's aging, guys. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Gotta calls him like I sees him. There's one other thing I wanted to bring up. So Tobert, I don't know how Tobert factors into all of this. I think that Tobert he knows something. I had a huge theory that Tobert was the killer. I don't think he's the killer anymore, but we brought it up when we covered the episode, Kara. He let Mabel steal that footage. It was absolutely planted. He knew that there was no one in that dressing room. He was talking to Cookies. He knew that he wanted Mabel to see that. He wanted to, and he's completely faking. Oh yeah, you took that footage from me. Oh, you're a smooth one. You know, it's like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Mabel is.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we can say about Mabel now, it's that she ain't smooth. Mabel's a big old freaking idiot when it comes to sleuthing and everything.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh,
that, yeah,
Mabel.
that footage was intentionally planted, and the real footage he took from Ben's apartment. I think that we're gonna think that it's Tobert at the end, and it's gonna be twist. It's actually not him. There's something incriminating that is on camera, that was caught on camera, that would incriminate Tobert, and it would make him look guilty. And he knew that he had to retrieve that from Ben's apartment.
I
Because if
could see
anyone's
that.
if it
I
got
could
into
see
the
that
wrong
too.
hands, he would be, the cops would be like, oh, we have our
the
man.
baby elephant thing. That was a possibility that popped in my head. Like maybe this time, again, he didn't interfere. And there was something with, you know, he either caught it on film or something with Loretta and I don't know, Ben or somebody pushing Ben, which I still think is most likely Loretta. And he was either worried about being held responsible or wanting, you know, time to put together his own footage or theory in order to have a successful documentary.
Well, and
but
Tobert was really ready to believe that they had caught the killer.
Yes.
We have the man. We have our man. Let's go with that. Okay.
And
We
him
no longer
joining
have
up
to...
with Mabel gives him more control and more access to what the theories are.
Yep.
And he was all
because
about
there's something, there's a bit of
observing.
evidence. Yeah, there's a bit of evidence that incriminates him that he does not want Mabel to see because she'll podcast on it. And so
and
he's
he
thinking,
knows
I
about
have
our
to...
podcast. He knows about her. So he knows.
Yeah. Did you guys think it was weird
He's
that
so
he
charming.
had listened to her pod? Did you think it
can't
was
help
weird
it.
that he listened to Mabel's podcast, but then he pretended not to know her name?
No, I
odd.
think it's probably intentional, maybe, because he keeps on, he's a liar.
Yeah, or like a weird form of negging or something, like not wanting to come across like, oh, I listen to your podcast, I'm a fan. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Ugh.
I think we're on to something though, guys. I don't know. I just wonder if we're just going down the garden path or just what they want
we're
us to
all
think.
like way off.
That's
or
good.
something.
That makes it more fun.
I know. I just hope next episode has some meat to it and is not fillery-ish. Because I enjoyed this episode, but I want, you know, now I'm ready for it to move forward a little bit.
I'm ready.
Episode 5, so it's right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
I'm ready for
still
some
so
real
early on.
clues. I know. All right, so that is going to wrap it up for episode 4, but don't touch that dial. We're about to dive into my favorite after dinner delightful treat, listener feed crack. You guys had a bunch of great theories this week, and so we're about to go into all of them. So join us over there for part 2, the feed crack. Say crack again. We really appreciate it, guys, if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch the full episode, just click the link up here and you can, you can download or listen to the podcast here. We do full episode breakdowns. We go scene by scene, and you can also watch the full video if you'd like by going to patreon.com/perfectlymarvelous. And please leave us a comment. The point of the show is to share theories and all play detective together. So if you guys agree, or especially if you don't agree, like tell us your theories and tell us why we're wrong. You know,
I want to know all the things.
Yeah, I would be I honestly would be more excited if my guesses were not, if we were all totally off the mark here, you know?
Right. Like there's like a moment of satisfaction of being right. And then it's like, oh, I called it.
Because I love being surprised, and I love when the show, so if you have
twists
theories
and
that
turns.
if you know about these twists and turns, if you know better than us, tell us. Don't just sit there and leave a 1-star review. Don't just do all that. Don't be that bitch. Nobody likes that bitch. Sorry, no one likes it. Such an you look so old when you leave a 1-star review. You look so unattractive. Just letting you know. Only when you leave a 1-star review, though. Okay, anyway, and remember to please subscribe, download. All of the links are in the description. We love you. Mwah.
Yes,
Thank you
we
for being
do.
here.
Yes. So come back next time for our review of season 3, episode 5, Love.
And you can email us at perfectlymarvelouspodcast@gmail.com, or DM us on Instagram at Perfectly Marvelous Cast, or come along and join our Only Perfectly Marvelous Murders in the Building Facebook group and share your feedback and theories there for sure.
Seriously, guys, follow us on Facebook. I would love to get more of a discussion going on our page over there. We're sharing all kinds of cool links. Everyone in the group shares really cool stuff. So,
it's so much fun as the season is
think.
actually happening.
Yeah, I know. I just love it. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Jade the Naked Lady, all one word. My loves, my dears, my darlings, my hearts. I've had such a marvelous time talking with you. Listeners, thank you so much for being with us.
I'm Kara.
I'm Erica.
And I'm Jade. Thank you and good night.
Having trouble making eye contact with you, Erica.
What did I do up here?
Too soon! Erica, God. Think of the children. Pray it out. Find a priest. Save yourself.
Tom is a Christian, Erica. I love that so much.
I know, me too.